I wanted to talk to you, Hatem, a little bit about gas and what you think, for a number of the pre-COVID years and period, the acceleration of gas adoption in the UAE and the region was a very significant piece of the power puzzle, if you like. I'm wondering if you might give us a sense of where things are at now, and has COVID disrupted that momentum, or where is the gas demand in the Gulf states at this point and looking to 2021?
Ups and downs in demand happen all the time. Long term, it will continue to grow. And I expect the gas demand worldwide is actually increasing all the time. We've seen huge increases in the LNG demand in China and in Southeast Asia. And I expect the gas demand worldwide will continue to grow for the next 20 years at least. While peak oil is probably imminent if it hasn't happened already, peak gas is tens of years away, maybe mid-century or so. We don't know for sure, but I don't think before 20 years at least. So gas is generally a good transitional fuel. It's the cleanest between the fossil fuels. It's not clean. At the end of the day, it does produce CO2, but it doesn't produce as much CO2 and doesn't produce as much or almost nothing of the other contaminants compared to burning coal or oil. So overall, I think gas business is on the rise, and it's going to be thriving for a while still. Renewables, of course, is going to be thriving a lot more, and the percentage increase of the market share of renewables will continue to increase at the fastest rate, and especially that renewables are actually cheaper than oil and gas at the present. But
does gas still offer the key fuel to power for the UAE, for the Gulf region? I mean, Saudi Arabia, as we know, is still burning fuel oil for power. I mean, how do you see gas sort of competing with A, fuel oil, B, renewables?
I think renewables, until you reach a minimum of 20% of the demand supplied by renewables, renewables will offer you far superior economics to anything else. Not just it's very good for the planet and the environment, they actually are financially better than fossil fuels in the low end, because the first 20% you'll be consuming 100% of your renewable production during the daytime without having to need any storage. Once you start increasing above 20% and approaching 50%, or imagine if you're going to the target of 100%, it's impossible to achieve it with renewables without resolving the storage issue. And
some European countries are getting near 80, 90% now. No country has reached that level. I don't think any country is capable of reaching that level anytime soon without significant storage capability. And we don't, without it, of course, yeah.
We don't have the capability of that kind of level of storage. That will happen eventually with the hydrogen economy, when you develop the technology and the infrastructure to divert all of the excess renewable production during the daytime or when it's windy to producing hydrogen, and then using hydrogen as the transition fuel or the fuel source for the times when renewables are not available. We are very far away from that point yet. I don't think we're going to be there before 20 years at least. In the meantime, the only or the best source of energy production when renewables are not fully available or when you don't have storage is gas. It is the best, it's the most flexible, and it's going to continue playing this role for a long time.
Yeah, we're not seeing any of the, Saudi Arabia, huge potential market, no LNG. The UAE still doesn't have a permanent, other than the LNG exporting facilities. We still don't see an LNG import facility. I'm just wondering what your outlook for LNG is as part of that gas solution in the region.
You know, you need LNG when you don't have enough gas in your country or in your where you need the gas. And if you are a gas importing country, if you don't have the pipeline gas readily available to you, or the pipeline gas is not capable of supplying 100%, or there is a risk on it, it's always good to have an LNG terminal to import LNG. It's good to have an LNG terminal anyway if you have a very high demand, because it gives you diversity of supply and security of energy. The UAE actually is probably in the best position in terms of that capability in the whole region, because it has the capability to import and export by pipeline, it has the capability to import and export by LNG, and it has a significant renewable power base that's continuously expanding. I don't think any country in the whole region is at the level where the UAE is at the moment. And it's taking the right steps to expand renewables. It's taking the right steps to make sure that everything else that's not renewable is gas. And it's also even taking some steps in energy storage, and it's participating with nuclear, and it's participating in energy storage research. So that's what really other countries should be striving to do, the same thing. Now, if you are Qatar, where you have enough supplies of gas for the next 200 years, of course, it would be ridiculous to think of importing gas to Qatar. But in other countries where you don't have enough gas, or you have barely enough gas, or you have slightly more gas than you need, even if you have self-sufficiency, the best thing for the country is to maintain the ability to import and export gas in the form of pipeline or LNG, even if you have just enough gas, because that gives you energy security and diversity of supply. And the UAE.
Do you think, I mean, there has been the outlook for LNG, floating LNG in Sharjah, there's been talks in Fujairah, there's obviously in Dubai. Do you think we will still see LNG import facilities somewhere in the country?
If there is a demand for it, yeah, you could. At the present, there isn't. We have put our own LNG project on hold several months ago, or almost a year ago, because we see enough LNG capability for LNG import capability in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And there is significant pipeline gas, and we have our own discovery that also will contribute a significant part of.
Well, let's just finish up our interview on that. I mean, we started out the year with Sharjah National Oil Corporation and its partner Eni with a very exciting announcement, discovery of natural gas and condensate onshore in Sharjah. How is that looking now, and the outlook for 21?
It looks very good. Alhamdulillah. We expect first production from the discovery in January, inshallah, which is almost record-breaking from the discovery until production of only 1 year.
12 months.
Yeah, we're planning additional drilling to delineate the discovery in 2022 and 2023. Sorry, 21 and 22. And we're looking to drill more exploration wells. We're thinking of putting more blocks for tender for further exploration. So hopefully we'll have a bright future in terms of exploration and local production in Sharjah in the coming years.
No disruption at all from COVID or any? I mean, it's amazing in a way. Operationally, most fields in the region seem to have managed. Of course, COVID at the operational field operation could be very disruptive.
We actually had a very robust pandemic response plan that was immediately executed, even before the federal government and the local governments announced their lockdown decisions. We were almost ahead of them in every step of the way. We immediately switched to working from home for all of the departments except the operations. We continued our operations 24/7, and we put all kinds of measures to protect our staff from contracting the disease, by basically isolating shifts from each other, putting very strict protection measures on the residences and on the work. We opened back up and we put back people into the offices. We basically are operating in bubbles. Each office is a different bubble with very limited access between the different bubbles. We're very strict measures inside the offices. We haven't had any case of COVID-19 contracted within our facilities. Yes, we did have a few people contract COVID-19 from outside, but zero transmission within the company. Extremely strict measures, and the business was hardly affected at all. Even our projects had small delay, like weeks delay, but we put a lot of plans in place and the measures to recover, and we're able, inshallah, to put the production for discovery next January, and on our gas storage project, hopefully before the end of this year. Also within 1 year from the time of start of awarding the EPC contract.
The gas storage reservoir could become active.
Yes, it's actually already in the pilot phase has already been operational, but the main project hopefully would be coming online within a month or so. Also, very fast track schedule, and hopefully we'll be giving an early bonus for completion.
And how do you plan to fill it?
We are filling it at the present from our own production, and we will continue to divert most of our local production to filling the cushion gas in the gas storage. That will take probably more than a year to do that. In the meantime, we'll be importing gas for the local supply. Once the gas storage is functional and operational to be capable of putting gas in and out, then it will be primarily used to manage the seasonal changes in demand, and also as an emergency supply for any supply disruption.
Well, as you said earlier, gas storage is the critical piece to the ability to be the transition fuel for power.
Yeah, same principle of energy storage.
And I think that's quite an exciting project. I also want to just wrap up by congratulating SNOC as Organization of the Year for Youth Empowerment in 2020 in the GCC. I mean, you've accelerated your project with your storage, and yet you're also managing to continue to work with and create opportunities for the regional youth. And that's a tremendous achievement. So Mabruk to you, Hatem, and to all your staff. And thank you very much for joining me on this week's Halftime Talk.
Thank you, Sean.